Oh, sorry, Westwood. I did it again. I left him on here. Hey, Westwood, are you ready for a happy hour?
I am ready for happy hour. This is my third drink, so
okay. Well, everybody grab a drink and get something read because we remember everyone deployed. We'll be right back right after this. How is it going? Sorry about that. I had we were chatting earlier and I didn't switch it back over.
No worries. No hurries, no worries.
Worries, no worries. Are you baking out there in Illinois?
No.
You're not. It was
It's
over
been nice
today here.
I was talking to Mitch before the show. It's been so nice. I mean, it's been in the 70s, sunny, and it's cool at night, getting down to the 50s. And oh man.
Wow.
And now it's going to warm up, though. It's going to be, I don't know, 90s for the next 3 or 4 days. And so, you know,
hot.
I'll be outside.
That end of August heat.
Yeah. Still got the heat. But we're probably not. Well, we are going to be bringing the heat at the beginning of October. But it probably, temperature-wise, won't be that bad. I just confirmed today with Dave, the owner of the room. We're good to go. He's like, oh, I love it. You guys bring a good crowd. So he's happy to see us back again, October 4th.
A great
check out ClintWestwood.net.
Yeah.
Link at the top. It's got all the information. We're going to have a live meetup, a live happy hour. Live meetup. Well, of course, that's redundant. We're going to have a live happy hour show at a real bar. Not that this isn't a real bar.
Watching my show, which he says he doesn't watch.
Oh, yeah. Paulie doesn't watch the show. That's right. He just makes comments and, yeah.
Little turd.
He listens to the show and makes comments, but doesn't watch.
So what I'm talking about is that Westwood does a spaces after Hash It Out on Blind Dave's channel with all the guys. Then they do a spaces. I don't know if everybody usually jumps in that one, but you have a lot of people that show up for it on a regular basis. So you should also follow Clint Westwood on Twitter or X because he'll do spaces on Thursday and Friday nights, or at least Friday. You have to back off the Thursdays.
I know, right? Oh man, I got this all messed up. Hang on.
What you doing?
Oh, Lord, I forgot to put it on Do Not Disturb. Hang on.
It's all right. It's one of those things. It's the strange energies from space. It's got us all, crazed. So Bomb and I.
Strange energies from the firmament. I can't even say it.
Yes.
Third drink.
Well, that asteroid's coming. And
it's in preparation H for that, right?
It's supposed to be like, I told Benny we would keep it PG. He's picking up his kids.
Right.
We have to be careful. But there's an asteroid coming. NASA's issued a warning for everybody. So I guess the point is that it's not that it's going to hit or strike the Earth, but the tail of it, the metals and the form of it cause such a magnetic pull that it could affect the Earth, or the Earth could affect it to change its direction or whatever. So I don't know. What do you think of that?
What difference at this point does it make? Bring it.
Speaking of which, they had
take me home, Jesus.
The CNN called out. So I guess the DNC summit thing or whatever they are having, their convention has been focused on, like, the whole thing has been about, putting this fear porn in people that Trump has this
anti-Trump agenda 2025.
Yes. And then CNN fact checked themselves. Which, that is, somebody posted a comment and said, the good guys or the bad guys aren't still in control of the media or something like that if this is happening. So it is. So Jeff Berwick posted this horrible looking statue that was very inappropriately clad and had monkeypox all over it.
Yeah.
And large appendages sticking out. And I was like, they're trying, like, it's so ridiculous that they're.
Right. They're like, okay, again, McFly, hello, trying to wake you up. Hello, McFly. Anybody in there? That's what's happening right now. The shaking. It's like, wake up. Do you not see what's happening? How much do we have to put in your face?
Yeah, and this is not about. In fact, Jack Smith, is that his name? Jack Smith, the prosecutor against Trump, has dropped the expedited charges or whatever, or expediting the charges against Trump. So that's being rolled back as well. It's like all these things were just such a facade. It was all fear porn. It's gonna happen. This is gonna happen. Oh, this is gonna. Well, of course, I do have to add on that supposedly, and Johnny called this, I don't know, years ago. China and Russia are sending nuclear bombers to Alaska. Johnny's theory was always, well, they're going to do it in some Alaska is larger than Texas. It's
huge.
It's huge. And there are many parts of it that are not populated and all that. And so he's like, they'll set off some low level nuke in somewhere where we can't validate or verify it. The U.S. will be, we've been attacked,
Yep.
And all that. And I don't know.
To play into the theater of the whole thing, right?
Yes, all the theater, fear porn.
Wag the dog.
Watching the big mic up there telling everybody they have to give up part of their pie, and then now all these memes talking about he has.
How many multi-million-dollar mansions do you own?
Yes, he has
Come on,
multi-million-dollar mansions.
Hey, how's your chef doing? Oh wait, that's right.
He was a floater. He did not make it. But he was actually a really good swimmer, they said. But anyway, he didn't make it. So there's
if it's over 4 feet of water, he's not such a good swimmer, I guess.
I really thought that the DNC would have a little more bombs or news out of it. It was very expected, They
had nothing. It was a very joyful conference, though.
Very joyful.
Very joyful.
Except for the baby killing they were doing in the parking lot with Planned Parenthood.
Well, and the pre-baby production, with the vasectomies.
Oh, that's right.
Giving away free vasectomies. I mean,
where'd you get your vasectomy? In a trailer?
In a trailer outside the DNC in 2024, baby. And you got a tattoo parlor right next door, so you can, etch it on there. It's like
I'm just thinking, how sanitary can that be? I don't know.
I mean, seriously, rewind your childhood, and or 30 years, which I'm still a child, but anyway, rewind 30 years. Do you think that you would be talking about something like this? Oh, we're going to have vasectomy clinics, drive-by vasectomy clinics, outside of a Democratic National Convention. Oh, what?
It's insane. Oh man.
You might get a free cheeseburger with it or something, I don't know. Get fries in a cheeseburger, like you did in New York.
Oh, like when they gave people the jabs, they get a cheeseburger. Right. Mm-hmm. And they were doing pizza parties for kids at school if they wouldn't tell their parents.
Oh, imagine, huh? Think of that.
Yeah, I know. That's some sick shit. Sorry, Mark or Benny.
Symbolism.
Oh my goodness.
Symbolism will be the downfall, right?
So what are your thoughts on this announcement? Was it always planned? Is it really a turn of support? Or what do you think about the whole RFK pulling out and giving his support completely to Trump? And then Trump's daughter tweeting, should RFK Jr. be in my dad's administration? Or I can't remember if she said a specific. It's funny because she wrote D, capital D, lowercase a, capital D. My dad. And I thought
some kind of calm.
It's some kind of calm of why those letters are capitalized.
Yeah, there are no accidents, in politics.
Mm-mm. So I don't know if that's like a DOD.
DAD.
Oh, somebody said they should put him over CIA.
Oh yeah, because if you think about it, I saw a post, where somebody made a good comment to where it said, it was a meme. It says, hey, so, I don't know, it's like Trump and RFK having a conversation. So they killed your uncle and your father. Would you like to be in charge of them? Yes, I think I will. Then they tried to kill me. So would you like to be in control of that agency? Yes, I think I'll take that post. I mean, I think, yeah, it's probably always been planned this way. I mean, because really, what did he do today? His speech today, RFK Jr., exposed the Democrat Party for, and who could expose it better than him? Who else is there? I mean, his dad. I mean, RFK Jr., Attorney General. His uncle. The epitome of the Camelot. John F. Kennedy. And so the Democratic Party, at its finest, so to speak, and it was and so here you have that legacy basically tearing the whole thing down and saying it's all a fraud, it's all a sham, everything I believed in as a child, everything my family's believed in,
Party is anymore.
Right, they're gone, it's gone. And so for him, who else could come up there and say that with any kind of legitimacy like that?
And also just seeing him and the name, it really, I think a lot of people that thought of themselves as Democrats, because the narrative had always been, and back when his dad was, and his brother, or his dad's brother, his uncle was in the Democrat Party, it was.
And there's a lot of holdovers because of those two guys. I mean, in the Democratic Party.
I think back then the message and the policies were about the working class, the middle class, mainstream America, the little guy and all that. But the pendulum has swung so far the other way. And that's what I think he really brings attention to that.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he really does. He just completely exposed them and he ripped the whole thing apart. He tore the whole thing down today. And you got to take a hard look at yourself if you are still a supporter of the Democratic Party. I mean, because it doesn't stand for anything. And here's what they did this week. I suffered through the DNC, the first 3 days. Last night I didn't watch it. I did go back and watch Kamala's speech today, the replay of it. I didn't watch it last night because I was on Spaces and, I was watching you and Johnny too, I was flipping back and forth. Oh, absolutely. And it was, they had nothing substantive to offer, but they did try to call out all those pillars of what the Democratic Party supposedly stands for, unions and, and rights and the working man. I mean, but it's so hollow at this point because that's not what they're about. I mean,
and those are other people's efforts. Those are not their
right. Efforts. They're riding on the coattails of history. And, and it's done, that firecracker's blown up, that wick's gone. There's nothing else left. And it's just been in shambles. But I mean, look at what Chris Cuomo said, and I'm not a fan of his. If you go look at him when he was on CNN and his family and all that, but he, again, if you think you're, if the white hats are in control, you got to think, if this is a good movie script that we're watching, you got to see what he did and what he talked about, because he's with, I think, News Nation now. I could be wrong. He's with a different media source, and he had a great speech. I mean, I retweeted it because, it was about a 2-minute rant on these are the people, Bernie Sanders, the guy that got rigged out of the election, out of the nomination in 2016, Hillary, and all the scam emails, and all the, he got ripped off harder than anybody else did. And then here's Bernie Sanders going up supporting, the chosen candidate that nobody voted for, the anointed one, at the Democratic National Convention, talking about we need to soak the billionaires.
Bernie was supporting Kamala?
Oh, yeah, he came out and gave a speech at the convention. And the thing is, and he's talking about, we need, it's all these rich people and the billionaires that are the problem. And Chris Cuomo called the whole thing out. Go watch that, because he said, listen, I'm here. And if you look up here in all these skyboxes, they're $500,000 to $1 million each. These are the people running the Democratic Party. These are the people that are looking down on all of the delegates. These are the people that they're supposedly railing against. Yet these are the people that are controlling the whole show. And I mean, it was a really good rant. And again, I don't, through the whole COVID thing with, riding the bicycle and I don't know, in the basement. He's a.
Oh, I remember those.
Oh, he's a big joke. I mean, but the thing is, I guess he's on the right side of history now and calling the whole thing out and exposing it. And so that's part of the reviewing
once again,
process.
Trump's his executive order, I can't remember if it's 1830 something. I can't remember the number, but it talks about that if you are caught violating human rights, that they will take all of your assets including their IP. And that's where I think a lot of these, I mean, did everybody see the one with Trump and Kamala making out, or was it Big Mike with the pregnant
Oh,
baby?
with the baby and everything and the AI thing.
Yeah, but it was like his hand was her hand with nails and whatever. Like it was bad AI, but
Yeah.
We don't know what we're seeing right now.
No, you don't.
That's why we're
Trust
having
yourself.
in person.
Yes.
At Westwoods, Metamora, Illinois. Be there.
ClintWestwood.net. Go check it out. I mean, I don't know why my ClintWestwood.net's not on here.
Because if I have a message up, if I put the banner up, then no, ClintWestwood.net.
Oh, okay. All right.
If I take it away, then ClintWestwood.net.
Learn my technology, I don't know. But yeah, if you go to that website right down there, you will at the top, it's got happy hour, tour, Litecoin Lisa, Clint Westwood. Click on it, and it's got all the details for October 4th. It is confirmed. Got it all confirmed with Dave. So we're going to be there at the bar live, and come check it out, because that's how you meet real people, and you're not that crazy person, in the forest, yelling and screaming truth, and nobody hears you. You'll be around people that, hey, we all get it. We all vibe,
It is very healing.
It is healing. It is.
Together with
very therapeutic thing.
Like-minded people, and to have, I learn something every time we have a meetup.
Yep.
Crypto brings me like this really cool game with a Bitcoin fountain on it, and then somebody's always sharing about like, oh, I found this information on this wallet, or have you tried this miner, or just even your dad's really educated a lot of us on some different silver things. He's always out there telling everybody about silver and gold, and sharing some of that. So it's always good stuff.
We got Uncle Steve talking about cars and motorcycles, and hey, there's a wealth of information, so
and driving very fast down the road, taking me for a ride.
Firsthand.
Yes. I like screamed when we took off, because the back end was like all over the place, but it was exciting. I loved it.
Yeah, I'll just ride the scooter. I'm good.
Maybe the Polaris.
Yeah, I'll get, that caps out at about 50 miles an hour. So that's enough. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah. No, so there really are great people, and that's really it. And so, crypto is a thing that kind of got us activated and brought us all together. However, it's not all about crypto. I mean, it really isn't, because so many of the conversations aren't about crypto. I mean, it's just, it's about being human beings and, communities, and, sharing like-minded, what are we going to do to fix things? Here, I got solutions, we can do this, we can do that. And that's really what it takes.
Well, and our friend Daniel brought a girl from, it was like a friend of the family from Chicago, and she's a reporter, and she used to be, I think she used to be the political reporter. The mayor hated her because she would ask him hard questions, and she's just really bright. And she was talking about, should you still have your 2A if you were convicted of a felony but now out, just really thought-provoking conversations, and I really enjoyed that.
No, it really is, and that's the thing. They don't want questions, and that's what you see. They want scripted. That's what I liked about RFK today. He says, I give sometimes 10 interviews a day. He says, if you ask me, you should ask him for an interview. He said, if you ask me for an interview, I will go on your show. And I mean, it's just like, but that's what you need in a democratic form of government. Is you need discourse, you need discussion, you need, to have people educated and be able to make decisions, because the people are the ones that are supposed to be in control, right? I mean, you got to be an educated, what was it? Ben Franklin, I think, once they signed the Constitution, it says, what kind of government do we have? Well, it's a republic if you can keep it, I'm paraphrasing, and I don't even know if it was Ben Franklin, but that's what it is, because the people have to participate, and we have to be engaged. Otherwise, the whole thing, becomes corporatized, and it becomes sold out.
How do you feel about these people that say, I can't see my vote, I can't track my vote, I don't, so I'm just not going to vote?
I get it from the standpoint that, we are living under the guise of a republic, because it is really not a true republic. It is it's been corporatized, Let's just say that. And so you're kind of voting for a CEO of the corporation. Is it the real republic that we thought it was? No. So I get that argument, and I can live in two worlds at once. So I understand that, because you are voting for, in that system, which is really not the real constitutional republic. Yeah, it's a corporate overlay, with statutes and with all the stuff. It's not law, it's statute. So I get it where they're coming from. But on the other side of it, well, and then we know that the machines don't work correctly. I mean, everything's kind of
and I guess that's where like the parallel systems come in, and things like that, where you can
there's no reason to give up. I mean, if you don't want to vote, that's fine. But vote with your energy, like I am says, it's just like, vote with your money, vote with your energy, and create the world you want to see and give it power, because you got a lot of power, and it's just, you can sit and do nothing with it and get all upset and let it just boil up and blow yourself up and go self-nuclear. Or you can get out there and you can just like, all right, I'm going to put my energy out into this stuff. Just like, hey, we're going to have a meet up in a local bar, and we're going to give money to that person to build that person up. Because, that's a local business, and money's going to stay in the economy. And when you do those things, instead of going to, hey, let's have a meetup in Chicago because a lot of people are going to show up. And it's like, but I don't want to give my money to Chicago. I don't want to support that infrastructure. I would rather support a small town to where that money is more valuable. And here's the thing. Here, let me read it. I texted him today and I said, hey, this is what we want to do. Hey, October 4th. And shoot, it's probably on my phone because he doesn't have iPhone. But anyway, here it is. And he says, that's great. He says, you guys are great. Let me know. Okay. As it draws nearer, give me a closer idea, blah, blah, blah. And he's like, hey, you always bring a good crowd. And it's just, he appreciates it, is what it comes down to. A local business owner appreciates that energy coming into the business.
Well, think about how much more significant that is, and how much more important you are to that business when you're operating with a small business. Like, we always try to find a local restaurant if we go out. Charlie mostly cooks, but we try to shop local when we can. We try to support the local. Even that there's a little girl right now that has cancer, and her family, her mom and her grandmother, and she does some little jewelry. She makes little jewelry at the store where we have our booth. And so like mom was like hearing her story and all this. And she's like, I'm going to go take a second look in that booth, because those are the kind of people that I want to help and I want to support. And so, I even pay up for something, because I know it's good in this world.
Absolutely. Because they're putting something in, instead of the guy that robs the lemonade stand, and takes the money from the kids. No, I want to seek those people out that are grinding it out. And it's like, hey, I got something to offer to the world. And, here, come buy my lemonade. Hey, I've got this small business. Yeah, it might be more expensive. However, just building that relationship with someone and knowing that they're going to be there in that place, in that town, supporting the people in that community.
Yeah.
We got to keep that money local. It really is. And you said that, keep it local, buy local, shop local. It is so important to do that. And that's how we change things. It really is, because here's what happens. It's just a big, giant sucking sound every time you go to the corporations. And those are the ones that benefited when everything got shut down, all the small businesses ended, with the whole prick nonsense. But who benefited? Walmart did well, Amazon did well, Target did well, all these big corporations did well because they have these big supply chains, and they had their ways to navigate. But the local shops, like, well, nobody can come in because they're not following the rules, and they put them out of business. And so
not just that, but what's with the inflation? So in a lot of small businesses, they do have relationships with their customers, and they might have had these customers for a long time, and it's always cost $25 for a haircut or whatever. Yeah. And then you get into a situation. I had to have a conversation with my hairdresser because she was like really struggling. This was early on in COVID when the supply chains were really bad, when people couldn't get toilet paper and all this. And she's like, oh my gosh, my prices on everything have gone up, so I just don't have that much margin. I said, if your prices go up, you have to increase your price to customer. And I know that's hard. And she's like, but I've been doing some of these people's hair for 10, 12 years,
whatever.
I know. And so that is how they ran the small business owner out.
Right. And look what happened right after they ran them out. It's just like confiscating the gold.
Yes.
Hey, we'll buy it for $20 and then raise the price to $35. And my numbers are a little off, but it's the same thing.
No, the same
They
thing.
didn't want to raise their prices and hurt their customers, but what happened is once they were out of the way, all the prices went up. We saw this massive inflation. And so now we have a double grocery bill. And guess what? Well, it costs me twice as much at Walmart now.
Right.
And my local business isn't there anymore. So I don't even have a choice.
They just opened it's a barbecue place, but it's not a barbecue place. It's more than a barbecue place. They're having hand cut steaks and meat and whatever.
Yeah.
And then they have smoked stuff and they'll do catering, but they also have some deli stuff. And Charlie went in there and talked to him and he was like, I can get this at Sam's, but he's like, well, my product is better and it's locally sourced and whatever. And so we want to support that. That's what we do.
Right.
So it's just really great. Find a small town near you. If you're in a big town, go for a drive. I promise you it's not 20, 30 minutes away from you. And it might be a change of life, something, an experience that you really want to embrace. I mean, I don't know. We're really enjoying it. So I'm encouraged.
I mean, it's all about the small towns. It's all about being close to production, close to community, close to participation. In reality, I mean, here's my problem. I talked about it a little bit on Spaces last night. I have a problem going to cities because to me, it is just so anti-human because I see it as being so artificial, an artificial construct. They produce nothing as far as food. They have to import all the food. You need all this infrastructure and all these things to bring the stuff in. And it's just, it's just this corporatocracy. And, they talk about 15-minute cities because that's what they want. They want to put you in there and lock you up. And I mean, I can't imagine people who have lived in the city their whole lives. And a lot of people have, and they never leave. And if they do, it might be to fly somewhere, and, go to a beach and then come back. I mean, but the unsustainability of that living environment is scary to me. And it's not even that. It's more just unnatural to me, and so, we'll put a little park here, we'll put a little park there, but everything is a concrete jungle. I mean,
but at any moment, all that has to happen is the trash trucks strike.
Yeah, and they stop picking up the trash. You do that for a week.
They're awash in trash and rats and God knows what. You know what I mean? It's not sustainable.
And it's already there. I mean, they got it all the time already, but it's just imagine 1 week of Polly P not showing up with a truckload of stuff, and all the other Polly P's out there.
Yep.
Where are you at then? I mean, it's not a healthy environment to me. And I know, some people that's where they're from and that's, what it is. And we all have our own path, but it's just not my path. I don't see that going forward being the thing that fixes things. I just don't.
Well, and Warrior's saying he lives in San Francisco Bay Area. It's a long way from a small town, but there are still some mom and pop shops. And I think that's the kind of thing where that's what would sustain a community during a time like that.
Mm-hmm.
If this
we've got communities within the city. I mean, you do. It's just that, getting the goods in is the problem because, it'd be very easy to, wall the thing off, an escape from New York scenario to where it's okay, nothing comes in, nothing goes out. What are we going to do now? And you got, millions of people that are dependent upon a system working when the system's broken. I mean, completely broken. And if the money fails, nothing works. Nothing works. Hey, I'll send you that check tomorrow for that cheeseburger. No, sorry, the cheeseburger ain't coming.
Did you see that Russia is opening a state-sponsored crypto exchange?
Well, they're making some moves. They're inviting people in, people that are tired of the, tyranny of the West and the illusion of the West. They're saying, hey, come to Russia. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but the thing is, it's always been a very, they still maintain a sense of strong community and spiritualism. Let's just say that. But, I'm not, either way, I'm not endorsing anything.
Don't move to Russia.
No,
we won't be able to make it to a Westwood meetup.
That's true. You know, once you're there, you might not be going anywhere. But just keep the vodka flowing. I don't know. There's benefits, I guess.
Oh my gosh, I'm not even going there. What else is going on? You guys were very chatty on Hash It Out. I missed the first part of it.
Chatty Cathy's. Hey, did you see? I got this on my notes. Did you see the one guy? I think it was Michael. It's not my notes. Michael Yeadon or whatever it is. I don't know if he's a doctor or whatever he is. He was talking about. He had some interview to where he said ivermectin causes infertility. Did you see that video?
No.
Oh yeah. He's saying, oh man, they've trapped us, and they gave us a solution. And it's actually a false solution. It causes infertility. It's not good for you. And then, I love to read the comments on X, and everybody's chiming in. It's like, oh, they've been using it for how many years in Africa, and they're still reproducing. We use it on farm animals all the time, and they still reproduce. And it's just like, okay, that's again, use your own discernment and look around and say, okay, what's using that, and is it causing what this guy's saying? And when your reality doesn't match the narrative, then you got to say, all right, the narrative is probably pretty effed up. But that was something that's been going around that kind of alarmed some people. It's like, oh my God.
There's a lot of things going around that are just clearly bad information. And this guy did a great job on, hold on, let me share it with you. It's like not very long. And Litecoin Bull posted it. And it was kind of breaking apart how the media perpetuates things and what really was happening. At the DNC.
Biggest threat to America.
The media.
Why?
The media is the enemy of the people. Take a look at the Trump versus Biden debate, that first debate that ever happened. Before that debate, the media was all in with Biden, was promoting him, was saying that it was a right-wing conspiracy if you say that Biden is senile, Biden has dementia, Biden has lost his step, and Biden is not in control. Then the debate happens, and the largest audience ever of American people, but also the world, had now seen on that stage that Biden cannot complete a sentence. Keep in mind, they've known this the whole time. This guy has been cooked since 2020. And then immediately the media
he's shot.
Changes tune, saying Biden's senile, Biden's this, Biden's that. The media switches and changes up, and then they usher in Kamala. They literally attempted a coup on Biden, and they were successful. No one voted for Kamala to be the Democratic nominee. For the party that says that Trump is this huge threat to democracy, that was one of the most anti-democratic things that I have ever seen. And so now the media is fully on board with Kamala. They're saying that she's ahead in the polls. How do they conduct the polls? I've never been called by CNN. Have you?
So have you ever been called by CNN? I've never been called by CNN.
No.
You? No. I've never been called by Washington Post. I've been told the media is what causes divide. It causes racial divide. It causes family divide. It causes political divide. It causes fear, uncertainty. It makes people feel like the world's ending, when if you just come outside and touch grass, life's pretty good. So I think the media is the enemy of the people. The media is the biggest threat to the American public and to the world. They're just complete liars and cappers and frauds and scammers.
What's the biggest?
Wise.
Yes, very wise.
A little wisdom there from the youth. It gives me hope for our future.
Yeah, me too. I mean, it really does. I mean, because that's what has to happen. We have to. There's so much attachment. We've had this conversation in Spaces, over a few drinks. But it's why is nobody using crypto? Why do people not? It's like, why is it all out number go up? And it's because nobody's necessarily using it right now. But I'm telling you, the younger generations are all digital. They don't have cash, and so it's going digital. I'm telling you, there ain't no way around it. It's just what kind of digital do we want? And so the older generations, they're still tied into that belief, like we talked about, the JFK, mindset, and, the older school mindset that everything's going to be okay, everything, but it's not okay anymore. And, your pensions are not safe and your 401ks are not safe. I mean, everything denominated in the dollar is not safe. And they are going to do what they can do to hijack that. And I mean, and some people, hey, it still works for me. I'm still getting my Social Security check. Everything still works. So, I really don't want to change. I don't want to adopt something new. But that all changes because, I mean, face it, those people are going to go away, and it's a generational thing. And so the younger generations, they're already embracing, what that new technology is. And it's a choice of what technology are you going to use? Are you going to be enslaved and let all those third-party vampires that are running the casino, custody all your wealth? Or are you going to take a different route and say, just like some of the older guys, they're like, hey, man, I'm all in gold and silver. I don't have anything in the bank. I keep my money, cash, under the mattress, that kind of thing. You're crazy for doing that. But no, it's just like you're going to see that in the digital world to where, fine, I'll opt in and I will own nothing and I will let you hold all my Bitcoin and, I'll borrow against it and use your CBDC to buy things in your system at the company store. Or you're going to have people that say, hey, I'm opting out. I can self-custody. I've got the tools to do that. And I'm going to go peer-to-peer. I'm going to have a new path and I'm not going to play your game anymore. And so that generational shift is what you're seeing right now. And I love to see the young people calling things out, calling out the truth, because they've got more tools, right now that, just don't let them hijack it. Just use those tools.
Yeah. I was really proud. The high school that my oldest 3 children went to, in Edmond, Oklahoma, had a boy got sent home and told to take the flag off of his truck. And yesterday, I guess, and it caused like all these kids to rally and show up at school with flags, put flags on their cars, all this kind of stuff. And they all like revolted together. I was really, really proud. And it was encouraging to see. And that's where, like, I don't know, I've watched this, my nieces and nephews and my kids and all this, like, have this yearning for like kind of a 1950s kind of America. Like, they love America and they were raised to love America and they want it to be like, they're like, no, we're about to be adults and we want the American dream too. We want what was promised to us and what we were raised thinking was going to be possible. That was, an opportunity for our parents. And so I love seeing them push back.
I just got chills, Lisa. Keep going.
What's that? I'm sorry.
I just got chills. Keep going, and I'll tell you why I got chills.
Well, because it is a peaceful way for the future to move forward. We don't have to. It's the whole, like Johnny says, let them make all the rules for typewriters they want. The youth is saying no, and they're opting out, and they're finding their own path, and they're finding their own way, and it's really. It's exciting. It's encouraging. It's empowering. When they literally took God out of the Pledge of Allegiance. They took it out of our schools. All of this, and that
one nation under she, him.
Yeah. Just horrible, And so
they, them, shim.
Yeah, watching these kids push back and say no. And so here's a picture from the school where the kids all showed up with flags, and there's a guy named Old Ranger who he stands on corners everywhere, like he's former military, and he's doing this for the flag, for our country, trying to instill hope and wake people up. So
and I think I've said this, and for lack of a better way to define it, I think and this is like way back. Maybe we need to go way back. We take this new technology, apply it to old ways. And I always say, I'm going to live like a steampunker. I'm going to take the new technology and apply it to old stuff and, kind of live on my own away from it. But what gave me chills is I always thought, man, I wish maybe I did live in the 1950s. But, I always thought the 1950s were kind of that's where you had the greatest purchasing power. Now, there was a lot of things that went with it. You saw the rise of the CIA and everything was kind of getting its footing. But, at that point, though, you still had purchasing power. Your dollar still meant something. You still had the ability to work. And, think about it, the nostalgia of Ward Cleaver, Leave It to Beaver kind of thing, where you got the man goes to work. Mom's in the home taking care of the kids, and doing their things, baking cookies. Unfortunately, Hillary hates that, but it's just, it was a different
cookies.
But now, nobody's in the home. Everybody's gone. We're on different schedules. Everybody's got to work. The mom, dad's got to work, and the kids go to the public schools, and they're raising them and indoctrinating them with all these things. And it's just what a different time that was. Before, you think the 70 years ago. And Elvis was the biggest threat. He was the biggest Satan. You know what I mean? It's like, Elvis, you know what I mean? Come on. And now you look at the evil that is so pervasive, and, and the illusion that we're living under. What a different time that we had, but, we got complacent. We let it roll on. And, one thing after the other, we followed the narratives. We let them take the money, take the silver out of the money. We let them take the gold out of the money. They robbed us of our value, and they promised it was going to be all right. And they're still making false promises because, we're going to do all this and we're going to lift people up. And it's like, you're not lifting anybody up. I mean, nobody owns anything. All the houses are bought by all the corporations, and now they're giving $30,000 through Hacienda, for people that are not American citizens to buy a home. So that jacks up the price for all these homes that all these corporations bought by $30,000, and then it locks everybody else out. All these younger generations, and they look at it and they say, I mean, $20 minimum wage, that ain't enough. I mean, 25, 50, I mean, what does it need to be? And it's not about that. It's the fact that they've used that money since 1913 to completely, just rig the game. I mean, they've completely rigged the game in the favor of the winners and that they've chosen. And
or the ones that the puppets that they have in their control that are.
Sure, they've hijacked them all. They're all compromised. I mean, all of them are.
Like this puppet they found a report from the GOP has found that the Bidens have benefited over $27 million by monetizing Sleepy Joe's office and position.
And we all knew that, though. I mean, Hunter Biden has no business being on the board of Burisma in Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he what's he know about that stuff? I mean,
he knows how to blow smoke.
Well, he knows how to blow something. I guess we need a president that knows how to blow something. Anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I saw something the other day about like prices or something in the 50s, and that a couple could have 2 cars and a nice house and pay the house off within. I think they did mortgages for like 10 years or something. Now they're doing car loans for that long.
Oh yeah, exactly. Get your car loan.
But would have a paid for home and could pay to send their kids to college, all this, and have mom stay home, and it's like, how did this happen to us? This didn't happen overnight is the thing.
No, it didn't. It's been a gradual change. And now you're seeing that all the promises that have been made are starting to fall apart to where, well, at least I got, like I said, at least I got my Social Security, at least I got my pension, at least I got these things. Well, guess what? You don't have it. It's gone. I mean, unfunded liabilities in this country, we're 35 trillion in debt, and it's more like 200 trillion. With the unfunded liabilities. This just does not work.
So the numbers are just all fake. So what are your thoughts about, FedPal came out today and said, it's time. It's
Jackson Hole.
To cut the rates. Yeah, they're doing the Jackson Hole thing is this week, right? Leading up to this next week. Right? I believe. Anyway, they always tell you what they're going to do before they do it. I'm like, there's a saying, shit or get off the pot. Like,
Nixon said that.
Oh, really?
Well, yeah, I think that was Nixon's thing.
So just do it. And why are you telling us you're going to cut rates when you have the supreme power and control to do that? Just do it if you're going to do it, because we don't get a say in it. There's no vote on it. There's no like community involvement, whatever. So and I heard they're going to cut up to 10 points. Like
I think
in this extreme.
No, it'll probably be 25 to 50 points at the next meeting in September, depending upon what scare tactic they use. It'll be 25 for sure. I think it could be 50, and then in November they'll cut another 25, 50. I think by the end of the year it'll be 0.75 points. So 3/4% they'll cut. I don't know which meeting they'll do it. It just kind of depends on what narrative they're going to roll out.
3/4 of a percentage is not.
No, it's not. See, here's the thing. The Fed's always behind the curve. And it's always been that historically. So once they start cutting, you're already in a recession. Everything's already gotten too bad. And I saw people talking today, oh, they should have started cutting in March and they didn't do it, just because the economy is. Here's the whole thing with this. Being a debt-based economy, when you create $1, baby, I'll take it out of my pocket. Hey, guess what? This is the first dollar in circulation in 1913 from the Federal Reserve. Okay, boom, got created. Okay, it got created, but there was interest attached to it. So in order to pay it back, you got to pay back 1 point, let's say, $1.05, 5% interest, $1 and a nickel. Where's that nickel going to come from? Well, shoot, we got to create another dollar. And then that's going to have a nickel attached to it. So you pay back 95%. So now you got 10 cents that needs to be paid back for the next dollar. And so that compounds and it gets to a point to where there's no stopping it, because every dollar that gets created has extra attached to it. Where's that extra come from? You got to get more money in the system to do it. And so that's why, to cleanse it, you have to file bankruptcy. I mean, you wash it away. But even that's not enough to level the playing field, to level the debt.
Right.
And so, it's just that debt-based Ponzi scheme. And then at the same time, it's no coincidence that in 1913, when they created this Ponzi scheme of money that had interest attached, this usury attached to it, that they also passed an amendment, that supposedly passed the amendment, which is anti-constitutional. They passed a constitutional amendment that said that, well, we're going to have an income tax now. Because all we're doing is just like paying the grease, paying the juice to the gangsters. That's all we're doing. We're not paying off the debt. We're just working to pay that interest, that usury fee. That's all we're doing.
Well, and I've heard that it doesn't really go anywhere. It actually gets burned. But it is to mind control us, to be good little slaves and think we are indebted. And
well, sure, you're indebted to what? Something on a little thing written on a piece of paper that says you owe somebody. Okay, if we change the world, in November 5th, I get elected, somebody gets elected, and they come in and they say, all right, I get sworn in January. All right, we're done. We're not going to have a Federal Reserve anymore. We're going to pay it off, or we're just going to default on it, and we're just going to create money out of the Treasury. I think Kennedy kind of started doing that, with the Red Seal notes. We're going to create this dollar instead of having the Fed outsourcing it to the Fed with interest. We're just going to create it out of the Treasury. So we're going to create a $5 bill or a $10 bill or a $100 bill right out of the Treasury. No interest attached. Now that is inflationary if you create too much. It can drive prices up on everything because there's more money in the system. That's what inflation is. It's not prices going up. That's price inflation. Monetary inflation is you create too much money, it goes somewhere. Okay. But the thing is, you can create all this money and there's no debt to pay back. It's like, it's out there. It is what it is. And so, you're not indebted. And so all we've done is said that, hey, we're going to create all the money we want. However, we're going to make a bunch of bankers rich in the process because, we're obligated to pay all this stuff back. And that's the scam. I mean, there's nothing to say that we just can't create that money out of the Treasury. And even that's not constitutional. It really should be based on something like silver, because that's what, money really is. It should be based on some fundamental asset and tied to that. And it used to be.
Couldn't each state create their own coins or
they should
money from their hard assets that are in their own state treasuries, that then, the state could say this is legal tender or whatever.
I think a state should step up and do that and just say, but here's the problem with that. You got a rich state like Florida. You got a lot of retirees that are dependent upon that Social Security check that comes out of that corporation in DC. And so to get them to hit that big red button, like Catherine Austin Fitts says, and hit the reset button, they're like, I'm not going to get my $1,000, $1,500 a month anymore. Man. The thing is, though, if you just let that go, I mean, you're not going to have all that malinvestment and all that garbage attachment that goes with it. You'll have sound money. And I think that's why a lot of us are involved in crypto, because we understand, hey, we know the rules. We know how many there are. And if I get more of that pie, I know I'm going to do better, because there's only so many slices of pie to go around. You go to Thanksgiving, that's coming up, in a few months. You go to Thanksgiving, you got a pumpkin pie here. All right, I'm going to get my slice of pumpkin pie before, it's gone. And the thing is, though, you might think, there's only one pumpkin pie. You get your pumpkin pie, you fill up, and like, oh man, I'm feeling good. Man, no, kids ain't going to get it at the kids' table because I ate it all. But then they bring out 10 more pies, and it's like, what? I thought there was only one pumpkin pie. And so that's what they do. They just keep creating more and more pumpkin pies. And then they put a bunch of GMO sugar in it, and all that stuff. But it's not sound. I mean, there's at some point the economy wins and reality wins, because you cannot operate outside of the laws of nature for too long. I'm just like, when does that wall get hit? You know what I mean? Because it will fix itself eventually, and I know it will collapse eventually, because it cannot continue in an artificial way, because nature always wins. It's like water always wins, a force of nature. It always wins. It's just that, I mean, as long as it's a rigged game and they keep creating more and more, I mean, we get in the situation where we're at now. And it's like, hey, we need $100 billion for this, or $500 billion for this and that, and boom, there it is. So but it affects everybody in the process, because it steals your energy from you.
So between the printing and sending money to Ukraine and everywhere else that we're doing right now, and this Fed tightening or cut that's too late or whatever.
It's too late, but
will we see that massive hyperinflation? I keep hearing people talk about deflation and inflation, and I wonder if you could go into that a little bit for people.
Yeah, there's that thing in the 70s called stagflation, to where the price of everything you need goes up, but the things you don't need, they get cheaper. And it's just your wages don't keep up with it.
As assets, like your home, right, your car, don't those all go down in stagflation because nobody's spending the money? But
right, but the food goes up because you got to eat every day. The cost of all the things that you need every day are going to go up. Oil goes up. Those things that you need to function as a society have to go up in price. They have to. The finite things that are necessary. I mean, do you need 3 homes? Probably not.
Probably.
Okay. So, the second and the third home is probably going to go down in price, unless you've got a bunch of 10 million people coming in that can fill those homes. And then you've got a rigged game, a RICO situation, to where they're all colluding together. And, the big corporations have bought the homes and held them off the market. And, the price just keeps going up. And then they give incentives from the government so that, people can get into those homes. And so that's what they're playing right now. It's an artificial game is what they're playing right now. Again, because it's not sound money. So if you've got unlimited dollars that you can create, just flood the market with it. And it's going to go into all the assets and drive the price of all those assets up. At some point, there are some assets that you can't build fast enough, you can't drill fast enough, you can't get those assets fast enough if they're being used. Now think about it if you were tied to a finite asset. Let's say we have a Bitcoin standard where everything is based on 19.5 million Bitcoin that exist. And that is your standard. Okay. The price of things are going to go down because the purchasing power of that asset is going to become much more powerful. Because you're going to be able to buy a lot more stuff, because there's only so much of this, and you can create infinite TVs. I mean, you can create infinite, all these other things. And so the price, the purchasing power goes up. This is something that is completely, we've had generations that don't understand that. They're like, we need the money because we have to buy more stuff. We need to create money because we have to buy all the new technology, the AI computers. We need the money. That's like, no, you don't need them. You don't need more money to buy those assets. You just need more powerful money that's going to have more energy, strapped into it that can buy it for cheaper. So, one Bitcoin might buy a mansion today, but one Bitcoin might buy an island tomorrow. And it's just like, it's
encourage
a finite supply. And so the price of those things go down in comparison to a finite asset, like gold, silver, Bitcoin, that kind of thing.
Do you remember when we were kids and your parents took you to the bank and you got a little passbook?
Oh, yeah. You'd write it down and sign it and say,
and it was exciting to see it grow. And they talked to you about interest, compounding interest and all that. That all went away from the 80s on. It was all about this big consumption. Then we had fast fashion. We have, we live in this throwaway society. And so I could see something like that where if you had that finite, if your money was based and tied to a finite resource, you would be encouraged to save because One
They don't
cookie
encourage savings now. I mean,
or
you
a
got to front
dozen
run the casino now.
tomorrow. Yeah.
You got to try and front run it. I mean, everybody's looking for, okay, I need to get invested in something that's going to outpace the creation of the money, outpace inflation. That's what they're looking at. And so, you know, hey, the inflation, that's why they understate inflation. Oh, inflation's only 2.5%. Oh, I can get a treasury bond for 4%. You know, I'm going to put it in that, when in reality, inflation's 10, 20%, depending upon what you're looking at every year. And that's the whole scam. But yeah, if you had a finite asset that you're holding, I mean, holding that asset, I mean, you know, there's only so much pie. Do you want a piece of my pie? You want my bottle of water in the desert? It's going to cost you this because you can't, you know, what's it going to cost you to get that water? But we're not living in that situation. We're not trained to that situation. We're so used to, we need more money to buy more things because there's new things coming all the time. We need more money to buy those things. Well, the cost of those things would go way down. Cost is just a figment of your imagination. And when you get to the point, you realize that, you know, asset to asset, what is asset for asset? What has real value? And I mean, that's kind of, you know, the mindset that we have to get into. You know, what are real assets? What has value? And what doesn't?
Yeah.
I'm
And
all over the board.
no, I think you're right on the money. I mean, that's where, like, it is a shift in thinking. People have to change their way of thinking because, you know, it's been the put it on the credit card. I remember when
Just get another credit card, roll it over, and get 0%
I was
for 6 months.
first single, and they were like, well, how much? I was trying to buy a car and whatever, and I was like, I wasn't first single, I was second single. But anyway, but I was trying to buy a car, and I was like, they were like, well, what's your monthly payment can you afford? And I was like,
Yeah,
it was
what can
so
you afford a
foreign to
month?
me because I hadn't, you know, had debt or understood all that kind of stuff. And so I was just like, why aren't you paying for your car? Or why aren't you like, why are you saying how much payment I can afford? It was bizarre to me. But I think we all do live so month to month right now.
Yeah, it's been engineered that way, though. So it's not your fault. I mean, it's your fault if you don't recognize that and wake up to it and then say at some point, well, I'm just getting strung along. You know, hey, I'm gonna get a new car that I'm gonna pay $50,000 for. That I got an 8-year loan on, and the warranty is good for 3 years, 36,000 miles.
And the minute you drive it off the lot, it's worth 30,000.
Right. I mean, wait a minute, I'm losing, and so that's my thing. That's why I always had that you know, in my mindset. You know, and I've got a brother-in-law that works at a car dealer, and you know his. You know, I mean, I'm aware of it. You're aware of it, and we know how it works. And I always want to know what's the cost of it, because I'm looking at my cost, because I need to figure out, you know, what it is. You know, is it $20,000? If I paid you $20,000 for this car, you know, can I, you know, and that's, I don't want monthly payment. No, Yeah. That's why I'm one and done. That's why I drive junk cars and I fix them up and I do my thing. And I'm just like, you know, hey, if I got to put an air conditioner in it and pay somebody to do it, that's fine. You know, the monthly payment, you know, one time done, it's in. And, you know, but I'm a one and done guy. It's like, give me a car and I'll pay for it. Just tell me what the price is. I don't know what I'm going to make next month. I'm on a fixed income. You know, I have no idea. You know, we're all on a fixed income.
We are all on a fixed income.
With fixed, it's a rigged income.
Yeah, rigging it, driving it behind us for sure. Super, super crazy.
But what happens is, you know, you're not going to have electric cars getting created if we were on a gold standard, let's say, or a Bitcoin standard, or a Litecoin standard, or silver standard, whatever it is, because there's only so much of that stuff to go around. There's a finite pool of those things. And, you know, and with silver, with gold, you know, we know how much comes out of the ground. It's pretty, you know, we can chart it 5% more a year, whatever it is. So we know what it is. If we were on a standard like that, we wouldn't have, you know, this push to, hey, we need a bunch of electric vehicles and we're going to create all these incentives from the government because we're going to create this money to incentivize companies that are basically not making money, losing money. There's a company down the road, Rivian. I mean, well, we think we're going to be profitable at the end of the year, but this quarter we lost $1.5 billion.
Right. It was insane. Rivian's numbers came out.
It's unreal. But then we got JB Pritzker showing up saying, oh, this is great for Illinois. We got all these electric cars going. It's like, yeah, but does the market want to absorb that? Because if you had a finite supply and it's like, okay, I got 10 Litecoin in my name. I know there's only so many. I know there's only 0.01 Litecoin for everybody in the world, and I got 100. I'm way ahead of everybody else. I got a big pumpkin pie, sitting in my lap. And do I want to give you a slice for that? No, I really don't want to. And so they keep chugging out cars, and pretty soon everybody else is saying, yeah, I really don't want to give up my pumpkin pie. I like it. Or I don't want to give up my special Westwood whiskey that I got. There's only so many of those, and so the free market at that point takes, you make a decision because it's like, hey, I've got the asset. They want the asset. They've got all these cars out here that have been mass produced and overproduced. They're going to lose because I'm not willing to give that piece of the pie to them for that asset, because it's just, the pie is more enjoyable to me than that. And so, I mean, that's where we got to be. But instead, no, we've got a situation where, hey, create all the money you want, give incentives. Here's $30,000, go buy a house. I mean, here's $15,000 on your EBT card, when you come over the border.
When they do that, it lowers the value of the other homeowners in the area.
Sure it does.
Because those fake funds, coupons that they're,
Poker chips.
rolling out like a fat kid going down the slide that is your money or your value. They're giving them a coupon that costs them nothing, that devalues your home. It's just insane to me.
Right. You go into Chuck E. Cheese and it's like, oh, okay, it's my birthday. I get 50 free tokens. And then, somebody else comes in and says, oh, well, you're special. I'm going to give you, 3 rolls. And now you got 300 tokens. It's like,
right.
How come you get to play all these games and, my mom and dad are paying for the birthday party and, Chucky to walk around and, give me big hugs and smelling like, nasty cheese and,
old cheese. Yeah.
It's like, well, how does that happen? Well, it's because they create the tokens. Again, if you think about it as a casino, and I try and boil it down to the most elemental level that people can understand and I can understand, it's a casino. Those chips cost them very little to make. They can comp you all they want. They can give you a hotel room because they already got the hotel room. They've got all the things, and they can give you all these things to keep playing to extrapolate more of your energy out of you. And that's what they're doing. They're giving you little shiny objects or, extra zeros on the poker chip to keep you playing at the table. But they know that as the longer you keep playing, you're going to win. Go watch the movie Casino. It was like 1993 or something, maybe 1991. That's a great movie because it teaches a lesson. There's this big whale from Japan that comes in and wipes him out for $1 million or something in the casino. And so they take him to the private jet to get him to the airport. It's like, oh, the jet broke down. Shoot. Oh, we'll comp you a room and give you the penthouse and all this stuff. And so he ends up, he's going to continue to play at the casino because he's there. And then he ends up losing 3 times what he won. And it's like, keep them playing. And that's the game. As long as they keep you playing, the house wins. Vegas is in a desert, folks. And they've got these beautiful buildings. How did they put these things up in the middle of a freaking desert? You're paying for it. You're paying for it with all your energy. They just need you to come there and they, the vampire you. And that's what they do. It is a vampire casino. And that is what governments do. That's what all these corporations do. They want to keep feeding on you. They want to take your energy. They want to take your lifeblood. That's the game. Once you understand the game, you end up like Westwood, where it's like, I'm going to hang out here. And let's all hang out, let's not play that game anymore. Let's not give our energy to that stuff. Let's give our energy to other things that can benefit us rather than them. That's a temporary high that ends up makes you second guessing yourself because I should have bet on black. Damn it, I knew it. And then you bet on red and you lost.
Yeah, they make you think it's your fault when they were
rigging
the game the whole time. Yeah.
The fact is that you're
going to pay. Either way, so
you're gonna lose. The only way to win is not to play the game. War games.
That's right.
Go watch the movie.
Gosh, I forgot about that movie. Yeah. Oh, that made me want a computer so badly.
Oh yeah, Whopper.
Yep. When I watched
the Whopper,
I was gonna name it and everything.
Yeah. What was that, like 1983? Anybody in the chat? I think it was like Matthew Broderick. I think Ali Sheedy was in that.
It was
too.
when we moved to Texas, so I would have been.
Yeah, but there's so much truth that's right there, and it's like you're not going to win. You can game this thing out and have total nuclear war destruction between the U.S. and Russia and USSR at the time. Nobody wins. So the best way to win is to just not play. we're not going to play this game anymore. We're going to walk away and we're going to do something different because you can't win. And once you understand that you can't win, why do you want to be a loser? Why do you want to walk in the door as a loser?
Don't be a loser.
Knowing you
hear
lost.
Trump in the other room, so I think we should go and all watch Trump. And I heard RFK introduced him, so I'll have to go back and watch that. But we'll see you on Spaces tonight, Westwood, right?
Yep, we'll have a Spaces. I'll be hurting again. I'll be hurting on a Saturday.
Join Spaces because it's a great platform where like we're all in a room together. You can request to be a speaker if you have questions.
Yeah.
If you want to just say hi, chat with Westwood or anybody there. So it's really a fun like environment. And you can just listen if you want to just listen.
Yeah, exactly. You want to be a wallflower? That's cool. You know, want to have one headlight like the wallflowers? That's cool. You know, Bob Dylan.
Go to clintwestwood.net for all the information about the meetup that's coming up. Please consider joining us there. There are places to stay.
You might even have a special guest appearance by Mitch. He's got a lot to say. You know.
Oh, cool. There's
So if we do it before 8 p.m., we're good.
He knows that's true. You can say it to him. But there are hotels close by. There's also Airbnbs or VRBOs. I can't remember what else it's called. But
yeah, go to VRBO, go to Airbnb. I mean, you know, and check out Metamora, Illinois. Go to the website, clintwestwood.net, right down there. And you will find the top link at that page. Find out where we're doing the live happy hour. Make it a weekend. And who knows what we're doing on Saturday? Lisa's going to try and drag me out.
I'm going to drag you out wherever everybody's going. And we'll make
then
sure
we'll meet up.
Post it on
somewhere.
clintwestwood.net wherever we're going to meet up. So
Yeah.
we'll have a double down meetup. All right. See you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Please give us a like and share the video. Leave us a comment if you're watching this later and let us know your thoughts on something that you liked about the video or something you'd like us to talk about more. So thanks, guys.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence, on infiltration instead of invasion, on subversion instead of elections, on intimidation instead of free choice, on guerrillas by night instead of armies by day. Its preparations are concealed, not published. Its mistakes are buried, not headlined. Its dissenters are silenced, not praised. No expenditure is questioned, no rumor is printed, no secret is revealed.